All right, on this episode of the LPDS, we get into some of the latest dating app trends that I've been talking about. I try to keep up to speed on those since I'm an outdoor cat. We talk about some current events and updates going on in the world. We have one more fan submission that I'll touch on briefly about first world problems that grind our gears. Is another one that I didn't think of that makes sense to me. And then we'll wrap up our time here in the New Jersey dungeon, the motherland here, visiting the family before we head on the road back to Texas. All that plus a cage fact coming up right now. All right, jabronis, we're back. Welcome back to Libretti Podcast Diary Show. I'm your host, Libretti, the show that talks about nothing but tries to find the lessons in everything. We have a good time doing it. Hope everybody had a good week. Mine was hectic. It's still hectic. The dungeon is hectic, folks. That's the only way I can describe it. Not in a bad way all the time, but it's just a lot going on all the time. And it keeps me on my toes, keeps me busy. Keeps me tired too. I am tired, let me tell you. But it was a good week nonetheless. Hope everybody also had a good week nonetheless. And if you didn't and you want to talk about it, feel free to hit that hotline 202-670-1114. Leave a voicemail and we'll play it on the air one day and talk about whatever you want to talk about. We don't have a lot going on right now as far as talking topics in the junction. But I do want to hit on some stuff going on in the world, some stuff going on in the LPDS universe, and then we'll wrap it up pretty quickly here. I think, you know, I I don't know, quick for the LPDS, I guess. So you know how I like to flap the gills and keep things going. So first things first, I want to bring up really quickly the unfortunate accident between the Army helicopter and the American Airlines regional jet that crashed outside of Reagan Airport in DC. I don't know of any. I haven't heard enough updates to know. I believe everybody perished in that. Unfortunately, I don't know for sure, but it was one of the plane was landing and the helicopter collided with it over the Potomac River. It's a sad situation. What's even sadder to me, not actually, it's not even sadder, but what's sad to me as well is the instant finger pointing and then also the politicization. What is the word? Politicizing the event, the mishap, the accident that occurred within hours. People are pointing fingers. Oh, it was Trump's fault because he did this. No, it was Biden's fault because he did that. Can we do the investigation? Can we get the people out of the water? Can we notify next of kin before the social media politicians and jabronis out there start flapping their gills and pointing fingers? And the regular politicians are all pointing fingers on both sides also. Let's take it a step at a time before any of us who are not involved whatsoever on the incident, before we chime in with our 1 cent opinion, which is based on very little to no information. I I still to this day don't understand. Maybe I did it when I was younger. I don't realize it. The quick and aggressively emotional reactions and opinions on things. I think that's what sort of like the news cycle has created for us these days. Is everything is quick headlines. The 24-hour news cycle is quick headlines, as drum up as much emotion and chaos and division as possible and then move on to the next thing instantly. And that's what people, too many people continue to fall in line with that mindset, just letting the emotions get the best of them, reading a salacious headline, and then immediately that's it. All I have to do is read 4 words or one sentence, 6 words, and that's it. Not only do I have an opinion, I have all the knowledge I need, all the information I need, and I'm aggressively going to push that opinion on others. And if you don't agree with me, you're a piece of shit, and I'm gonna chastise you for it too, and run the same sort of gamut, the same playbook on you to make you out to be this non-credible, despicable human being. We have to stop doing that. These people, there's bodies still in the water that they're trying to fish out and notify next of kin. And because we're detached from it, you're not involved in it. It's not my chair, not my problem. You have no issues just throwing your 2 cents in and blaming people and calling people pieces of shit and this and that. Just stop. How does that make you happy? How do you live your life like that with every situation that goes on in the news? I can't imagine. Your lives have to be just full of depression and stress and anger and negativity constantly because that's how you live your life. Just living in that negative. I don't get it. I wish you get help for that. I wish you well. I wish things would change for the better for those people who do that. I don't understand it. This is a sad situation. I don't know what's going on with it. You got the tinfoil hat saying it was done on purpose. Don't know. There's no information. There's not enough information to make even a guess right now what happened. All you could say is that it happened, and you got to deal with it. We got to move forward. We got to investigate. We got to find out. We got to get to the bottom of it, and we got to do what we can to prevent it from happening again. We can point fingers and place blame and make it political later on. These people are still in the water. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. Very sad for those families of the people who perished in that crash. Very sad. Anyway, move on. We'll stair step the positivity here in the order of operations when we're talking about current events. Um, Slightly less negative. I just want to bring up we're in February now. By the time you're listening to this or watching this on the YouTubes, we're in February now. February 2025. And if you remember, this is the month, I believe February was the month they said would be the earliest that they can get another spacecraft up into the space station to save those trapped astronauts that we stopped hearing about all of a sudden. I don't even know if they're in space right now. We have gotten no updates on the astronauts for 2 months now that are trapped in space. They were supposed to be up there for like a week, trapped in space. They're still trapped apparently. There's been no updates, so all we can figure is that they're still trapped in space. Let that sink in. Now, you could put the tinfoil hat on. There's a lot of people out there that said they're not in space. The astronauts have not. They've been not going up to space to the space station. They've been doing it all on sets and in water and all the fakery. So maybe that's why people don't care because they're like, forget it. They're not even really in space. But I'm just an outside. I'm just a civilian. I think they're in space. So I am all my thoughts on this and my opinions and my knowledge and my care of it is under the assessment that these people are in space and they're trapped in space, in outer space, out of this earth, not on this earth, out of the atmosphere, trapped. And mum's been the word on that. So hopefully we get an update, and that update is we got a spacecraft on the way to pick these people up who are trapped in space and nobody's talking about it anymore. Trapped in space. Did you ever get trapped in a room? You ever get locked into a room by accident, or your parents lock you in your bedroom to get when you're in trouble and you're trapped in your room. And now imagine that off this planet. You're not on this planet anymore. You're in space and you can't leave. You're trapped for months with no actual timeline of when you're going to be untrapped and back on Earth. That's crazy to me. That will always be crazy to me. And the way they talked about it and pushed it off to the side as if it was like as if somebody's like power went out in their house. Oh yeah, they lost power for an hour. They'll get it back. We don't know exactly when. They said maybe an hour, could be up to 3 hours. That's it. It's power, It's not news. It's nothing. It's something, guys. They're in space. They're trapped in space. That's crazy. That is crazy that they have not done anything like whatever. Whatever. Trapped in space still, no updates otherwise. Anyway, moving on. Um, I want to brag, not so much for myself, but for the LPDS community as a whole. All of you listeners out there, anyone who's part of the LPDS universe, this is a brag for us. Talking about the drones here. Remember the drone story that's now not a story anymore from right, before Christmas time? The big drone story. Everyone, all these drones coming out, and the government didn't know anything about it. The federal government kept coming out. We don't know anything about it, and we have no plan to figure it out. Do you remember what we said on the LPDS? What we think this is likely? This is what the situation was. Because I remember. You can go back several episodes and get that information. It might have been the last episode I did before we drove up to New Jersey, to the dungeon here. I think it might have been, or one of those. It was close to it. We said that something's fishy. That when the government says we don't know and we don't have a plan to know or find out, it's likely that they do already know and they're just not telling us. Well, sure as shit, folks. Sure as shit. Well, last week, 2 weeks ago, whenever the newest presidential press secretary, I forgot her name, came out and said, "Hey, by the way, just want to let you all know that the government knew, not only did they know about the drones and what they were, they're the government's drones. And they got secret approval from the FAA to be flying around in those patterns at that schedule for that long a time, still doing it at those locations all over the place, whatever. They knew about it." Now, there were some hobbyist drones, some personal drones of people going flying their own up there to do their own investigation, and it kind of mixed and mingled with what was going on with the government drones. But the entire time, they did not just know about it. It wasn't like we found out about this information, but we're not going to tell anyone. They're the government drone. They were our drones. They scheduled them to be up there. They got the approvals for the airspace and the flight pass and all the how you doings, and they kept it from us. Not only did they keep it from us, they lied about it and said, "We don't know what this is, and we don't even have a plan to know." But they kept saying, "Don't worry, it's nothing, it's no big deal though," which does not make sense. If you don't know what it is, how can you say with any amount of certainty that it's not a big deal? Nothing to worry about, unless you know. And they knew. They were our drones. Government drone, they're ours. Our US government was doing it, and they lied once again to us. And this is just another example. This is not really a big deal in the grand scheme of things as far as this one incident. But this is just another example of why I don't trust our own government. Okay? When you hear me going flying off the handle, everyone's calling me crazy and saying I'm blowing things out of proportion or being, everything dramatic and this and that. They lied straight to your faces, all of our faces, multiple times, multiple times for months, almost for multiple months too. Lied straight to your faces, our faces, and said, we don't know what they are. And we have no plan to find out what they are because they are our drones. Okay. And it's another example of why I don't trust the government, why I don't think an entity that can't even run the post office or hold a press conference is capable of doing or managing anything of actual importance to this country. I don't want those people in charge of my health insurance and medical care. Like all these people, we want universal health care, we want single payer, we want the government running the show on that. Why? They can't even navigate a press conference. All they had to say was, "Hey, listen, guys, these are our drones. We schedule them. No, there's nothing to worry about, though. We can't say anything else at this time because of the nature of the exercises and the research we're conducting. But there's nothing wrong. These are exercises and research, and that's all they can say right now. Don't worry about it." And that would not be lying, and that would also be protecting the assets and the nature of their work. Pretty simple. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe somebody with an extra security clearance level higher than mine can enlighten me on what I'm missing or why they couldn't just say that. Why they couldn't just say, "Don't worry, we know what they are. They're not enemies. They're not other countries. They're not foreign. They're not UFOs. We got it taken care of. This is all above board. We can't really divulge in any other further information at this time, but everybody's safe. Don't worry about it." It seems too. Again, maybe it's too simple. Maybe it was too simple for them to just tell the truth like that. I don't know. But if they're gonna blatantly lie to our faces multiple times, national television, on the podiums, everybody, and they were so sure of it. They try to make us look stupid. To do that is just, I wish more of us in America understood that we vote these people in. Okay? They have power because we give them power. And we give them this this ability to go around and do things with no accountability because we're not doing anything about it. We vote, these are public servants. We vote these jabronis in. And if we just got out of the shitty news cycle of chaos and division and took the time to educate ourselves on the people running for which office and what they can do in that office and their history and the importance of each particular office from the federal down to the local governments, and we actually took the time to vote in the best person for the job based on qualifications and not on the garbage we're getting. And then if they don't effectively lead in those positions, we vote them out. We have the power to do that, technically speaking. We're choosing by sticking with party lines and the easy way out, or not voting at all, or not educating yourself at all. We're choosing to give them that. We're relinquishing our power as citizens to these people who now think they're above us. They think we're stupid sheep, and they can just say whatever they want and do whatever they want, and there's nothing we can do about it. But we can. Now we can revolt too. I don't recommend that. Although I do love a good war, as you know. I don't recommend a revolt, but we have to do something. We have to be better about who we decide is the public servants to represent our local municipalities, our state governments, and our federal government. We have to do better at that because these people are going to continue to take advantage of us if we can continue to be simp beta bitch boy cucks. Anyway, the drones are our drones. That's what I'm bragging about. We were right the whole time. Once again, I really need to hire a guy, pay him a couple bucks to go back through the annals of the LPDS history and see how many times we made a prediction on something and we were right. It's our numbies are off the charts. The LPDS universe is off the charts. If our predictions, if we could place bets, and I said this before, if they had us in DraftKings at the sports books online in Vegas, we would be the most successful in the history of gambling. 90+%, I promise you, we're 90+%. I guarantee we're that good. We're always right here. You guys are always right. We're ahead of the curve all the time. And people say we're crazy. Libretti, you're crazy for thinking that. You're flying off the handle again. Get it together. It's not like that. You're an idiot. Whatever, whatever. Right again. LPDS is right again. It needs to be studied. We need to be studied. All of us need to be studied for how right we are. It's almost a burden. Like now I want to keep the streak alive. It's going to be so much work to make sure now we got to make these predictions as accurate as possible because I want to keep the streak going. We're the Joe DiMaggio, we're the Cal Ripken of being right. Always, day in and day out, figuring it out. And that's because we take the LPDS step back from our emotions. We critically analyze situations. We take in all available information from current information to new information that just drops to historical information on precedents before this. And we put it all together and we critically analyze all that, and then we make an assessment based off of that. It's a proven formula, folks. It's a proven formula of how to think. Okay? It's not telling you what to think, because that's what in my opinion, that's what the media is doing, and that's what people are doing all over the place these days, telling you what to think, and if you don't think what they think, you're a piece of shit. We're not doing that here. We're teaching you a proven formula of how to think. And then whatever conclusion you come to is your own conclusion. And if it's different from mine, that's fine. That's okay. We're supposed to be thinking differently than one another. 330 million people in this country alone, almost 8 billion. In fact, I think we're over 8 billion people in this world. We're supposed to all think the same things about everything all the time. That's crazy. That's almost as crazy as people being trapped in space and nobody giving a damn. We are allowed to think differently, and we are allowed to have different opinions, and we should have different opinions about things based on our own experiences and circumstances and the information that we have available to us. All those factors come into play, and we should have our own independent thoughts, and that's how you do it. The LPDS knows how to do it. And because you're armed with that proven, effective system for critical analysis, that's why we're always right. Because we separate ourselves from the bullshit and we don't listen to what people are telling us to do and telling us what to think, and we think for ourselves. And that's a kudos to you guys at the universe. So give yourselves a round of applause. Right again. Anyway, drones. We're right. Moving on. I got my peasant water again. I'm out of the sparkling water. I'm down to the peasant water if you're looking here on YouTube. Just in time, though, because we're about to leave. Anyway, we got updated trends in the dating app universe. Now, I know most of you are not on the dating apps, and you shouldn't be. most of you that I know, the people I know who tune in, you're all taken. You're all indoor cats. So you shouldn't be on the apps. But for the couple people that are on the apps and are outdoor cats like me, this would be pertinent information for you. And then also for you indoor cats, this is probably fun for you to listen and probably you're probably sitting there thanking God that you don't have to be in the dating app world. In fact, I'm very excited to get back to Texas so I can get back into the real world a little bit because the dungeon, we'll talk about it later, but I'm in the dungeon. Physically, mentally, emotionally, I'm in the dungeon when I'm up here, and that's fine too. But we've talked about this in the past. Trends in what people answer in their prompts. So for those not following, the different dating apps, Bumby, Hindi, Hinge, some other ones out there, all have a similar setup where they provide a prompt or a question or something, and you provide information, and it's supposed to reveal a little bit about who you are. And the way you answer, there's no right answer to these questions. It's not like what's two plus two. It's like a life goal of yours is, and you put your life goal. And by answering the questions, you're providing information about who you are. So if you're making joke, sarcastic answers, now I know that this person likes sarcasm and has a sense of humor. That specific sense of humor. Got it. You could pick up on these cues. You do the LPDS critical analysis and you pick up on this stuff and you can gather information and make an assessment on whether you want to swipe on this gal or fella or not swipe on this gal or fella. That's how it is for those of you who are not in the dating app world. Now, we've talked about prompts that have had very popular, very much like copy paste answers from people. And I can't get to the bottom of it still, but there is definitely a central location or a person, a popular person out there who's providing these copy paste answers, at least for the women. I'm sure men do it too. I don't know per se. Maybe I'll have to do some investigative journalism and go start searching for men on the dating apps. Might screw up my algorithm on who's popping up on my feed, but if it's for the LPDS, I'll go, I'll make the sacrifice to find out what their trending prompt answers are. But even if the guys have it too, I don't know where they're getting it from. I'm out of the loop on that. I'm just seeing what I'm seeing on people's profiles and I'm seeing the patterns. And I don't know where the source is. But there's trending responses of these prompts that pop up every once in a while. And at first it's funny, then it becomes annoying, but then it becomes funny again almost because it's like, wow, this is what we're getting. We're getting sheep. Everybody has the same answers to everything. It was crazy. So the latest one, excuse me, the latest three. I can't believe I found three. The latest one of the three is something to the effect of I foster men until they can find their forever homes. Now it's a play on, to over explain things as I do, it's a play on fostering dogs or being a foster parent. I take them in and then they find a better woman and they go get married and do their thing. Got it. It's a long running joke. I've heard people talk about it before in the past where they're like, oh, all my ex-boyfriends or all my ex-girlfriends, the next person that they got with, they got married. I'm just the I think they made a movie about it with Dane Cook. Good Luck Chuck. Is that the movie where he did that or Jessica Alba was in it too? I think that's the one. So it's a common like joke in the single community of like there's always the one person that is the good luck charm for others. They date this person for a little bit and then their next significant other is going to be their wife or husband. But now it's on the dating apps and I got news for you. There are not that many of you setup men or women to be putting that prompt in there and for it to be true. I know some of you are putting in there because it's trendy and popular. You or somebody you follow, like a social media influencer, told you, "Hey, put this on there. It's funny and cute." And then because that influencer is so popular, all these women are now doing it too, and it ends up being, commonplace and uniform and stagnant and boring. Because you don't want copy paste people to date, men or women. You just don't. But that's one of them. The new popular one of the new popular ones. The other one I've been seeing for a while now, and it comes in waves of how often I see it. And I think this one, maybe they all come from this show, but this one I believe I saw originated from, I want to say it's Vanderpump Rules. I think somebody from that show, maybe it was that show or another show. It was a reality TV person um, made this statement about online dating and what they put on their profile to get people to go out with them and go on dates with them. It was something to the effect of like, buy me a drink if I if I like your face, buy me a drink so I can see if I like your personality too, or something like that. I see sort of slightly different variations on the prompts of that when I'm looking through profiles when I'm doing swipes, but it's generally something like that. And and I've seen this for a couple years now. So I know it came out a little while ago, but it comes in waves of when it becomes more popular again. And right now we're on an uptick. I guess people think like, oh, it's been off the radar for so long we can bring it back and people won't notice that it's a copy paste answer from a show, from a reality star. I don't know. But unfortunately and fortunately, I have a pretty damn good memory. Elephants don't forget, and I remember that stuff. I know it's been around for a while. As soon as I see it, I know this is unoriginal. And I don't, let me be clear here. I don't left swipe, I don't cancel out those people based on these prompts. It does make it a little bit more difficult for me to figure out if I'm going to like this person enough to want to date them. But basically what it does for me. And someone can come and give me call the hotline if you have advice for me on this, 202-670-1114, if to see if there's a better way for me to do it. But for me, if I see somebody putting one of the trendy copy paste prompts up there, now it basically becomes, do I think you're attractive physically? Do I think you're a pretty girl, cute? Do I find myself physically attracted to your pictures enough to want to meet you in person than to do the figuring out on the date if I like your personality and your character as well? That's what it becomes. I don't like that, but if you're doing copy paste answers, I can't tell for shit what anything about your personality or your character or your sense of humor or anything. All I know is maybe you think that is funny enough because it's just a superficial prompt and whatever. That's it. So if I don't find you physically attractive, then I'm not gonna swipe on that person. And I don't like doing that. I don't think dating should be based on looks alone. Now, I know men and women are different. Men, I believe, were more visually focused in the beginning, initially. Like if I don't find myself physically attracted to you in any way, shape, or form, I'm not even going to approach you to talk to you in a dating style capacity. I think women might be different. I think if they see a guy they're not physically attracted to right off the bat, but if he makes them laugh, then they're kind of in a little bit. Or if he has similar character qualities and values that they have, they're kind of in a little bit more. I think it's different for guys. I think you can have the same exact sense of humor. You can like the same movies, the same books, the same hobbies as me. We can be a match in every other way. But if I'm not physically attracted to you, you're just a friend. I don't. And I'm speaking for myself, maybe a few others out there in the world. But again, correct me if I'm wrong here and if I'm generalizing too much. But if you're putting these prompts down, they're all copy paste prompts. I can't tell anything about your personality, your character, your sense of humor, your values. Because of that, if I'm not physically attracted to you, I'm swiping left. I'm Xing you out. You're not. You're not. I'm not going after. That's just the name of the game, unfortunately. Because now at that point, you're just pictures. And I don't like that. I don't like doing just pictures. It doesn't garner good results, quality results to find a good match on the dating app scene, on the online dating scene. But again, if you think there's a better, if you think I'm being a little bit too superficial there on that mindset, let me know. Because I'm looking for a good quality partner. So if you think I'm missing out on good quality partners because of that tactic, let me know. I'm trying to learn, grow, and improve here too, folks. Now the third one I've seen recently, it's been the past several months, but it's a little bit cyclical as well. It's a little bit like a wave, so it's on a bit of an uptick lately. Um, the prompt is, "You deserve good things, and I want to be one of them," or some variation of that. "You deserve good things, and I'm going to be one of them." When I first saw it, I liked it. It was like, yeah, that's cute, that's clever. But when I see it for the 57th time, unfortunately, it no longer becomes clever because it's not unique anymore. It's not making you stand out in the crowd. It's making you sink in with everybody else doing it. Same with all these prompts. You're no longer standing out. So whoever you're getting these from, whatever Reddit sub thread, whatever influencer, whatever reality star, whoever the source is on the TikToks, whoever the source is for these trendy prompts, if you're looking it up on ChatGPT, you're doing yourself a disservice because you're not standing out. Because ChatGPT is giving the same answer to every other person out there, and you're all copying and pasting it in there. So it's not doing anything good for you in that regard. So you better be hot. That dude better think you're hot, or else they're not gonna swipe on you, unfortunately for you. And I'm sure you're great gals or fellas if you're using the same prompts as well. I'm sure you're great, but you're shooting yourselves in the foot by doing this stuff. Now, I saw one profile. I saw a couple profiles actually, a couple, which is more than it's too many, where every prompt was one of these cut and paste ones. Not one, maybe not one of these three specifically, but some of the others we talked about. Rotting on the couch. I love to rot. I'm a certified yapper. There's plenty of others. Tacos and margs. Uh, the New York Times crossword puzzle. Whatever the stuff we talked about in the past, I've seen a couple profiles, more than one, of every single prompt is one of these copy and paste. Now I know you're not one bit original. How can I have a conversation with you in real life? I have no idea. Are you going to be able to answer questions in real life? Because you couldn't do it in writing. When you had time to actually think about responses, unique answers that maybe are clever, insightful, show your personality, your sense of humor, whatever, and you chose to just copy, paste, and phone it in, how are you going to be able to do that when you're thinking on your feet in live action, real dating, and I'm asking you a question? So the incentive for me to swipe or put any effort in that is very low. And the incentive for anybody, I would imagine, is lower. It's just zero originality. Like, why would I want to be around that person? They're a copy paste. It's not just about looks when it comes to dating. Now, I said most, I swipe on looks if you're just given prompts, but it's not just about looks. And this is not a brag on me, but there have been plenty of women that I've gone on date with that are wildly attractive, gone on dates with, not date withs, dates with, that are incredibly attractive. Most people would say way out of my league, physically speaking. And I had zero desire to see those through to second dates or third dates or relationships because our personalities didn't match, our values didn't line up, our sense of humor didn't line, whatever it was. So it's not just about looks. Looks get you in the door, folks. We've talked about this a lot. Looks get you in the door. Personality, character, sense of humor, values keep you on the dance floor. keep you at the table. And if you're just copy and pasting these prompts, I'm sorry. You have to be Marissa Tomei in the looks department for me to want to keep swiping on you. And I'm still taking a big chance in wasting my time going out there and hoping that you can bring it in real life. Now, this is not to say I'm a realistic person. I think on the total package, yeah, I sure as shit do. I got a lot going for me. I got nothing but blue skies and rainbows and assholes on the horizon for me. Okay? I have a good, stable job right now. I have a business I'm building to take that to the freaking moon. I think I have a good sense of humor. I'm pretty smart. I'm pretty self-aware. I can I'm taking accountability and ownership of my flaws and my mistakes, and I'm continuing to try to improve on that because I'm still a human being. I understand there's always room for improvement all the time. I exercise, I hold my physical, mental, and emotional fitness in high regard and high standards, a top priority for me. I think on the total package. Do I think I'm a human and flawed? 100%. 100%. And I don't think I'm better than anybody else. Unless you're like a criminal and you're morally bankrupt, yeah, I think I'm better than you. But everybody else, I think I'm just different than you. We're all different from each other. We're all similar in certain ways too, but we're all unique and different from each other. And that doesn't make us better or worse. I don't think I'm better than anybody else. And I like to think I'm realistic in the fact that, yeah, my profile, I am not Thor when it comes to the looks department. You're not going to see my pictures and be like, holy shit, I'm looking at Thor on Hinge right now or on Bumby. I can't believe it. It's Thor. No, you're not getting Thor, ladies or fellas, if you're swiping on me. Want to be the first time. I get that. I believe I'm good looking. I'm happy with my physical appearance, and I'm also happy with where I continue to go with my physical appearance when it comes to the gym and working out. I'm happy with that. I'm very confident, content, and that's all great in my world. And if you don't like it, that's fine. It's your judgment. That's your business, not mine. But I'm not going to take that to heart and then think, oh, I must be ugly because of it. If you think I'm ugly, then you think I'm ugly, but I don't think I'm ugly. But I also know I'm not Fabio. I'm not Thor. I'm not Brad Pitt. I'm not Nic Cage. I got it. But I'll tell you this, my profile, whether you like the prompt responses or not, whether they're funny to you, whether they're insightful, whether they hold any value to you specifically, that's on you. If they don't, that's fine. That's your the puzzle pieces don't match between us then. Got it. But I promise you, you will never find somebody else's profile with the same answers as me, or my answers be the same as anybody else's. I'm the only one answering the questions that way. The prompts I picked, the pictures I picked with the captions in those photos, those are all well thought out, original, they're JPL, Libretti originals. LPDS originals right there in every single one of those prompts. And if you don't believe me, you could talk to other people in the LPDS universe who have seen my profile. I know the creature has seen it. He could tell you. He might not like my answers. He could say like, yeah, I would have said something different because we have, we're different senses of humor in that aspect or different this and this different experience or whatever. But he will not tell you that this is a copy paste profile. This is unoriginal. Everybody probably says this stuff. I know a lot of guys talk about, oh, I like whiskey and bourbon and going to breweries and this and that. You're not going to see the copy paste unoriginal shit on mine. I promise you that. So I'm not here again to tell you I'm better than you because you copy paste these trend items and I don't. I'm not better than you. But if you want the total package significant other, you have to be the total package significant other yourself. You got to put in the effort. And that's what I try to do day in and day out as an outdoor cat in the dating world. And if I don't think I can put out that 100% effort to be the total package of somebody, I pull back. I tell them, listen, I can't give you what you deserve for whatever reason it may be. Work is taking up time. I'm prioritizing stupid stuff. I'm not in a good headspace. I need to work on myself. Whatever it is, if I can't give 100%, I pull back and I let people know I can't do it. I'm sorry. It's not you. It's me. And it is. If it's them, I tell them I'm not feeling the connection. That's the nicest way possible you can tell somebody it's them. It's not me. It's you. I don't feel the connection romantically, which is tough to do. You gotta, that's a leadership thing that is easier said than done, where you gotta actually communicate the negative feedback in an effective way. I got it, but I give 100%, okay, because that's what I want in a relationship with somebody. Hello. I want 100%, so you better damn well know that I'm also going to be there 100%. I'm in. Okay? And I know that's a lot for some people to handle because 100% of me, it's a lot to handle. I'm an acquired taste. Even for my friendships, and we talked about this before. My friendships, ask any one of my close friends, my brothers, they'll all tell you probably, yeah, he's in a, like, Sargi's not for everybody. And I don't think anyone will say it's because I'm a dickhead or an asshole and they just deal with it. I hope that's not the case. If that is, I wish they would tell me. But I'm just a unique acquired taste. That's the best way I can describe it. I'm my own person, and I appreciate to death my family and brothers and friends that are in my circle that I don't want, put up with me or accept that our puzzle pieces of friendship fit together in that regard. I love that. That's also why I have a smaller circle of like real tight-knit friends. I'm okay with that. And I want my significant other to be okay with that too, but I want them to bring that shit too. I want them to bring it 100% as well. And when I see the copy and paste trends shit, it's very tough for me, for better or worse, it's very tough for me to get over that mental hump of giving this person a chance when they're phoning it in for something so simple. And maybe that's the difference in mindset. Maybe these people see it as this is just a dating app. It's not really important. Guys aren't reading this shit anyway, which is a fair assessment to make. I know, we're pervy guys. A lot of times we're just looking for hot chicks to swipe on. And you don't even give a shit what it says. And that's another trending thing. I think it's less of a copy and paste and more of just a sad reality of dating these days is I see prompts all the time, people answering. I know you guys don't read this bio. I'm sure none of you are reading this. I'm in the minority. I read all that stuff. In fact, again, you can talk to the creature. He'll tell you when I'm showing him profiles of girls I'm interested in, I'll be scrolling through the profile and showing him, and then I'll stop in the detail section of like Hinge where it shows like their job, whether they want children, if they smoke or drink, if they're athletic, what their height and weight, like all this stuff that you can put like the specs, if you will. I'll scroll through that, and he's like, dude, what do just keep scrolling. I don't care about that stuff. I'm not trying to date her. I look at all this stuff. Okay. And maybe I'm obviously putting too much stock in online dating. I gotta get back in the real world more. But I look at all that stuff and I see a lot of women unfortunately say stuff like, oh, I know you guys aren't reading this. And because it's probably a sad truth for the vast majority. Dudes are not reading that shit. And that sucks. That sucks for them because they're out there trying to find a mate and they know that they're being treated like pieces of meat on the online dating world. So I feel I empathize with them on that. But if they're copying and pasting, it's very hard for me to get over that hump. So I think their mindset might be, this is so unimportant to guys. They don't give a shit. I'm just gonna phone this in because they're only swiping on me because of my looks. And the majority of the time, they're probably right, unfortunately. So they're not gonna waste their time then and then double waste their time on a date when they have to explain this stuff again, which I'm sure is frustrating because you put all this effort and thought into a dating profile and it tells you about yourself and you're sending all this shit. And then you go on a date with a dude and he's asking you questions that you already answered on your profile. If the guy just took 32 seconds to read the damn thing, he would have had that and he could have moved on from there, built conversational pieces off of that. That's got to be frustrating and annoying. I get it. So maybe they're all just so disheartened and disillusioned from that negative aspect of online dating that they're just like, fuck it. I'm not wasting my time on this shit anymore. Google or ChatGPT, give me an answer to this prompt, and that's what ChatGPT is pumping out to them. Maybe that's why. I'm the opposite. My mindset is if I can't nail these little details, if I don't put in the effort for something so simple that takes 12 seconds to finish up and type up, how can a woman expect me to give any effort for other stuff that requires more time and effort? So I'm putting it out there to letting people know like, hey, I'm in it to win it. Every one of these prompts is going to be unique. Every one of these pictures is going to be the best I can manage, short of hiring a professional photographer to take headshots of me. And everything's going to be unique to me and it's going to give you a really good picture of who I am, what I care about, what my values are, what my sense of humor is like, what I like to do, like all some of the hobbies and stuff, at least enough to keep content for you to see like, oh, I can see myself hanging out with this person in real life, meeting this person one time to see where we can go from there. See if this guy brings it in real life too. And guess what, ladies? I bring it in real life too. Okay? And it may not be your cup of tea, but I put in 100% effort all the time with that stuff. And if there's no connection, there's no connection. It's not anybody's fault. I get it. Sometimes I've had a really good time on first dates a lot with a lot of women. Basically, most of my first dates, except for maybe the Cleo Chloe situation that we talked about a couple years ago. We all know how that ended. Basically, all my first dates are fun. I always have a good time. We always have good conversations. But obviously, a lot of times I'm not feeling the connection, or maybe they're not feeling the connection. But I promise you this: A, you're gonna get 100% of me. You're gonna get me. I'm not faking. I'm not playing any games. It's just me. Okay? I show up in my fanny pack. And I do it on purpose. I mean, I'm wearing it anyway, but I'm not doing one of those. Oh, I'll sneak in the fanny pack on date 2 or 3 after they like me more, so I can reveal this to it. No, trial by fire. I look at their reaction right off the bat. How do you like me wearing this fanny pack? Because a lot of people don't like it. Everybody in my life basically makes fun of me, except for the brothers. They always have my back and support my decisions in apparel and attire. How do you feel about it? I don't say it. I just put it up and see how if they even mention it or what. Or I'll bring it up in the conversation when we're joking and doing some self-deprecating humor. We'll say something like, "What are you kidding me? I wear a fanny pack. You think I care about, you know, what your shirt says? No, wear whatever you want. Good, cool." So A, you're gonna get all of me, all pure, authentic, unadulterated Libretti. And B, or two, if you're a Home Alone fan, you're going to have a decent time. Okay? You may not have the connection. It may not be a good fit for you relationship wise or for a second date or whatever, but you're not going to go home and be like, man, that date sucked. That really sucked. No, you're gonna be like, at least I didn't waste my time. We had a fun evening. The conversation was there. I can bring it in the conversation. I talk to myself for an hour on this thing every single episode by myself. Okay? Imagine what it would be like if I had another human next to me to talk to. So, long story longer, I bring it If you like it, great. If you don't, that's fine too. It's none of my business. That's your journey. It's your decision. It's your tastes. But when I see the copy paste trends, A, I'm going to talk about them on here for you guys so you guys are aware of what's going on in the dating world. And two, it's tough for me to get over that hump to want to pursue that person unless you got Marissa Tomei pictures. Or one of your prompts says something about liking Nic Cage. I've seen some women who say something like "Together we could," and then they write "Steal the Declaration of Independence." I've seen some people answer that, and I'm telling you, even if you had, if even if you were a cyclops with one eye and a snaggletooth and a beard and a mustache, I am fighting to swipe on you. I'm fighting like, man, this person is not for me, but they got me on the Cage. They got me on Nic Cage, so I might have to swipe right on them. So you could get just a little bit of originality can do it. Just a little bit of effort can do it. So that's why I get so disheartened when I see the copy paste trendy prompt answers because it just doesn't do it for me and it makes it more difficult to find someone you want to spend the rest of your life with. I'm not out here just looking for to do sex with random people on the internets. I'm not 25 anymore. That doesn't sound appealing at all. I know that some people might still be appealing to you folks, but not to me. I'm off the boat on that. So anyway, those are the trends. That's all I got to say about that. Now, on to the good stuff finally. Blabbing on. God, I always do it. I always do it, folks. And I know you're here for it. I don't know how I can do it. I don't know how I'm able to just run my DS, flap my gills to nobody. If you're seeing behind the camera right now in YouTube land, I got a ring light in front of my face, and behind the ring light, that old vintage Mickey Mouse telephone landline that was behind me in previous episodes is now in front of me in the dungeon. That's what I'm staring at. I'm staring at an object. I'm talking to that. There's also an old blender up there too I'm talking to. So, gift and a curse. The gift of gab is a gift and a curse for sure. Anyway, let's get into the good stuff. I want to step into the cage.
Okay, let's run.
All right, today's Into the Cage segment is proudly sponsored by the Sweat Strap. Are you tired of your sweatpants drawstring constantly breaking from you tying it too tight and your $12 sweatpants keep falling to your ankles because of it? Well, now you no longer have to hold your sweats up like you're in a potato sack race once you get the Sweat Strap. The Sweat Strap is a never-before-seen strap that you wrap around your sweatpants to keep any pair of stringless sweats up around your waist. Simply fashion the strap around the waistband, put the one end through the loop on the other end, then tighten it and clip it closed for maximum suspension of your sweats. I can't believe technology like this was never invented until just now. So to get your sweat strap today, visit www.nostringnoproblem.com and use a promo code BELT for 29% off. Some of you may know this, and I don't remember if I've talked about this a lot in the past, but JPL3 has a history of his drawstrings breaking for various reasons. Most of the time, it's because he gets cheap sweats or pajama pants from like Target or Walmart just because they're just his out doing yard work or out, walking around the house, cleaning, doing errands, not errands, but doing chores around the house kind of pants in the wintertime. So with that come cheap drawstrings, and he's ripped a bunch. Now, again, we've talked about this a lot in the past. My family, we come from this a depression mindset when it comes to saving stuff and paying money and this and that. So when his drawstring breaks, the first thing is these pants are functional otherwise. Why would I waste these sweatpants and throw them in the garbage when I can just get a new string added to them? And then he, you know, calls on my mom and she puts a new drawstring in, and then he's back at it. But in the meantime, sometimes, she works too, and she's not around too all the time. Sometimes you find JPL3 walking around with his pants held up. If you're looking at YouTube later, he holds them up like a burlap sack. I think I've talked about this in the past. Walking around because the pants are going to fall otherwise. And now, $12 sweatpants from Target or Walmart, I just throw them away and get a new pair. I understand when you grow up your whole existence of you're getting your money's worth. You're not wasting these pants. These are good pants. You can keep these pants if you just get a new string. I get that. I'm shifting more towards the stuff like this. $12, I'll get a new pair of pants. But now all he has to do is get this belt to put around his sweatpants, and now he doesn't need a string anymore because he has a belt. And I can't tell you how much I would love to see that. If I'm walking around the house one day and I see my old man in his sweatpants and then a leather belt around them, I don't know what I would do. I'd I'd have to take a picture of that. There are too many people that listen to this and watch this and know JPL3 that would have to see that. I have to take a picture of that if that was the case. Or suspenders on the sweatpants. I would have to take a picture of that too. Because that needs to be publicized. He needs to if he did that, he needs to go out in public and show that off. That's such an iconic look that he would have to go out and present that to the world, and I would help him do that. Anyway, go buy a belt. The Cage fact, more like a rumor, Cage rumor. The director of Con Air, forgot his name, doesn't matter, made a good movie. Nic Cage was in it, so I like it. Director of Con Air has come out this past week and has stated he wants to do a Con Air 2. He's always wanted to do a Con Air 2, a sequel, but it's been rehashed, resurfaced because they're making a Face Off 2. And he's come back out and said, hey, I've been talking to Cage about this on and off for years. If we can get the okay to write the story and it's a good story and we can get some of the returning actors back, we'll do it. But it has to be right, and which I appreciate. We talked about this in the past. It has to be done right. If you're going to do the sequel for stuff, it can't just be a money grab. It has to be done right. And with Nic Cage and this guy's forces combined, maybe they can make that happen and have a Con Air 2. I don't know what the story would be. I don't know how it's going to work, but you know how I feel about sequels usually. I am always weary of them, especially now because most sequels are just money grabs and they usually suck, super suck. But there's a few out there recently that have held up their end of the bargain. As much as I hate to say it, there's the old ones, Terminator 2, Home Alone 2, Godfather 2. Uh, Tremendous. I know I'm missing some from back in the day, of course, but Ghost Rider 2, tremendous. That was a Nick Cage movie, so of course I'm going to think it's tremendous. It was not a great sequel though. Top Gun Maverick, good sequel. If you like the Top Gun stuff, you know how I feel about Top Gun stuff. I believe we talked about that already. Good sequel. I think Lord of War 2 is going to be a good sequel. At least I want it to be. Maybe I'm biased. Um, I believe that's one of LPDS character Steve McStiff's one of his top movies. It might be his favorite Cage movie as well, but it's a top movie for him, the original Lord of War. Tremendous movie. We talked about that because of the sequels coming out or being produced soon. So it would have to be a good sequel. Con Air 2 would have to be good. And I'm glad that that's where they're thinking. I'm glad that their head is in the right space, excuse me, of we want to do this, but if it's not going to be done right, we don't want to do it. We're not going to do it. So I appreciate that. We'll see what happens. Anything is possible with the great one, with Nic Cage. So we'll see what happens. Well, that's the Cage fact. Moving on over to the junction, we'll spin the logo up. Not much going on in the junction. We'll probably actually keep this quick. Um, I got another fan submission, a late fan submission on the grind my gears, first world problem stuff that made sense to me because especially now that I'm about to be on the road heading back to Texas, I'm going to be hitting a lot of drive-throughs. And this person's issue or problem that they have is when you go to the drive-through and you order your meal, it's specifically when you order a simple meal, like at McDonald's, for instance, the Big Mac meal, like or the two burger meal, those are all basically pre-made. Those are not so like unpopular that you have to make it fresh. That should be a 2 minute thing. By the time you order the food, you go and you pay at the window, and maybe sometimes some of the places have the second window to go pick up the food. By the time you go to the pickup window, your food should be in the bag. The way they have it. There's some stuff that is obviously not as popular, and they can't just have it sitting under the heat lamps all day because it won't be good. So that might take a little bit longer. Sometimes they run out of fries and they got to make a fresh batch. Got it. But otherwise, should be quick. So when they tell you when you get up there, you order, you pay, and you go to pick up, and they are sitting there, sitting there, sitting there. Then they tell you, oh, please go pull up around and we'll have someone come bring it out to you. That really grinds this guy's gears, and I understand it. Now, this person in particular, for the most part, they're this, they use the drive-through for the same reason I use the drive-through. It's a time thing. There's a reason why we got to get our food quick to get out the door, to get back out in combat and war, whatever we're doing in life. It's not just because we're lazy. If we're lazy, I would Grubhub my McDonald's to my house and eat the old McDonald's meal that was been Grubhubbed and probably the chicken nugget was stolen by the driver. If I was lazy, that's what I would do. But when I go through drive-throughs, when I go get fast food drive-through, I'm on a time crunch of some sort. I want to say it's emergency or I'm in a hurry, but I'm on the road. So taking the time and when I'm with the dog by myself, I'm not going like I do whatever I can to not leave the dog in the car by himself and go in somewhere. I run in to go do pee pee and re-up coffee at a gas station or something like that. And I don't mind gas station coffee. That's a different topic altogether. We'll talk about that on the road when I record on the road, actually, if you want to. Um, I go and I do my business as quickly as possible and I get back out to the dog because Randy, he's getting much better, but he does still have separation anxiety. He's had it, since I adopted him that he's had to deal with. So we're working on it. It's a work in progress. So I try to minimize my time for him stuck in the car, especially in adverse weather, too hot, too cold. I keep the car running. I have the remote start so he can't accidentally put the car in drive or anything. But I don't like doing that. So I go drive through. And I'm also want to get back on the road so I can get home. Also, the more time I sit there with the window open and other people in visibility of Randy, the more barking and whining and I want to go be best pals with all these strangers that he's going to do. And it creates, problems. So when they make you sit there and then they make you wait and then they come up from behind and that's from behind the car, that startles Randy too. It's annoying. It's a first world problem. It's annoying though. Especially when everybody knows my orders, like everybody that I have pretty standard McDonald's orders, the Big Mac meal and nuggets. Sometimes I get a drink. Most of the time I just have them put ice and water in the soda cup. so I can give the water to Randy. And then if I'm feeling like a little bit frisky, I'll get a McFloozy, like an Oreo or Reese's McFloozy. But it's the basic order. Now, if I'm not in a hurry and I walk into a McDonald's, I will get, I'll ask for fries with no salt because I know that means they're going to make a fresh batch of fries and not put salt on them. So I'll get a hot, fresh batch of fries and not the old stale ones from underneath the lamp. But I know I'm going to have to wait for that. Got it. But when I'm on the road, I'm not doing that. I want fries. I want Big Mac. I want nuggies. I want to be on my way. And when they sit there and they know this is such a basic standard McDonald's order, it's a top. Is it the number one? Is it order number one on the McDonald's menu? It's the top menu item number for a reason. Okay? So just have it ready. This is what we go to McDonald's and fast food joints for. That reason. We know it's garbage food, but it's cheaper in in the short term and it's immediate. And when you have people not making it immediate, why now we're paying for something different? And that's not what I came here for. And once again, completely understand that is a first world problem. It's not a real problem at all. Got it. But in the moment, that shit's annoying. That shit is annoying. Okay, so I feel for the person who submitted that because they deal with a similar feeling and emotion during that time. Pull up. And then sometimes what's really annoying is now you're relegated to waiting until they have the ability to have a human being, a worker, leave their post to bring you your food. You become a, a tertiary priority. You're not top priority anymore. Top priority is the people at the drive-through window ordering the food. The second priority is the people inside ordering food. You're now third priority because that person who's working also has to probably do drive-through, also has to probably help make the nuggies and the fries, and or also has to clean up. They have another job to do. This is an additional duty. So you're going to be waiting even longer for someone to be available to come take your food out to you. And you hope it's fresh. Sometimes it's for some ridiculous reason like oh, we only had like 4 nuggets and you ordered 6, so 2 will be fresh, 4 will be stale, but the rest of your meal will also be stale because it's been heat lamped and ready. And instead of giving that to you, we gave you the whole meal at once 10 minutes after the fact. So I get it. It's annoying, but it's not a real problem. We all know that. It's a first world situation. You know what you're getting into when you go to a fast food joint. So I'm going to have to deal with it on the road coming up here soon. And if I do, I'll let you know about it. But thank you for that submission. Now, speaking of the road, this is the last episode that we're doing here in the dungeon before heading back to the LPDS compound in Texas for the winter time. The winter phase, the winter opposite snowbird situation that I do has come to an end for now. And we're moving on. And we won't come back for several months. You know, I'll be back in a few months, who knows when. But it's been a good time. I always love coming up. Look, here's the thing. I'm making sacrifices to come up here. Obviously, my personal life, I have no social life up here. My social life is family stuff, whether it's seeing my brother and sister or visiting relatives or going out to dinner with cousins or aunts and uncles or whatever. It's all family stuff. I understand that. I'm not mad about that. But I have like 1 or 2 friends that still live up here. And most of the time I don't even get a chance to see them because I work all day. I live farther away from them now because my parents moved farther away from where we grew up. So I'm way farther from my friends who live all over the state. We got to work out. I have stuff to do for the business. I'll also, again, the priority here is to help my parents out around the house. So I usually have stuff to do around the house. And then there's no time line that lines up with my friend's availability. So I don't go out. I'm not dating out here. I'm not doing anything out here. I am in the dungeon during the day, during the week, all day. I work out. The last 2 weeks, my workouts have been garbage. I've been doing mostly the Bowflex here at the house and doing push-ups, and I have some dumbbells I've been doing because the work has been piling on. I've had to do some of the family visits and the family get-togethers have been piling on right before I leave. So, uh, and it's the nature of the beast. It's a sacrifice, but again, it's a voluntary sacrifice. I understand that. I understand that I'm living in maintenance mode when it comes to my physical fitness levels, my exercising. I can't do the amount of working out that I want to do because of it. I understand that. I understand the social life is on hold. I understand even my business is sort of in a maintenance mode. I can't do a lot of the stuff I can do at home by myself because of it. These are not all complaints. None of these are complaints, mind you. I choose to do this. I want to do this because I like being up here with my family. If I had the money, when my business gets booming and I have the freedom and ability to not have to worry about where I live because of the taxes and the cost of living and stuff like that, when I reach that financial freedom threshold, yeah, I want to come back up here. At the very least, I want to get like a beach house down the shore and spend time and live there. My family's up here. The most important thing in my life is up here, my family. So naturally, I want to stay up here. I like being up here. Are they a pain in the ass to actually live with your parents again at 30 something years old? Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is for everybody. Even if you love your family, you have a great relationship with your parents, your siblings, that shit happens. Me and my old man, we probably go at it maybe really go at it maybe once a year. And it's during this window when I'm home for almost 2 months. That's just the nature of the beast. Unfortunately, the shit happens. Also, they live by them. Like they're used to living just the two of them and their dog. Now they have a crazy rowdy dog in Randy and an adult child hanging out in their basement. And for a while, we were all sharing the same bathroom. So yeah, I'm sure they're tired of it too. But we both enjoy me being home. I like doing this. I like being able to even try to help them out with stuff. I like being home for the holidays. I see my family more now doing this the way I do it now than I've ever seen them when I lived in the military, when I was in the military. Even when I lived in Maryland, 4 hours away, a couple times a year, saw them because of the work schedule and things and what have you. So um, I choose this and I'm happy with it. But I also understand it comes with those little temporary sacrifices. Hey, Randy. But that's also now one of those things where it's like, yeah, it was good to be back in here, but it's going to be good to be back at home, back at the LPDS compound. The drive's going to suck. I'm not looking forward to that. I hate that part. I'm dreading right now even packing my car to go do it. But when I get back, it'll be good to get caught up on the other stuff that I've been putting pause on for this month and a half or whatever. So it's been great up here. I think we got a lot done this time around the house, getting things set up. Got to see a lot of family members. Didn't get to see the friends I wanted to again, and I hate that. I hope those people don't think I'm bailing on them or I'm flaking out or whatever. I think they understand the people that I reached out to ahead of time saying I'm going to be home for a month. Let's hang out. And I know on paper it's like you're home for a whole month. Why can't you find the time? It's not. We both had to find the time. And my friends have families too, so they're juggling busy lives as well. So it's unfortunate, but it's just the nature of the beast sometimes, and you can't work it all out all the time. But I hope they understand. We had a nice month and a half. This was a good run up here, and we're gonna do it again soon. So you guys will get to join in on the festivities and the fun and the chaos as usual. Um, I still think one of the funniest is this background that doesn't cover up all the chaos behind me and actually probably highlights it. I just think it's fun. That's what you get here at the dungeon, folks. Okay? You get the chaos, you get the stories, we get the live updates on what's going on here at the Nut House. That's what the people want to hear about. Okay? That's what they want to hear about. I would love for my old man to be coming down here holding up his pants like a burlap sack right now. That would make my day. And I know you love it too. But also, I am looking forward to being home without having to be stuck in a cold basement all the time, focusing on building the business, going out into society to mix and mingle with peers my age, getting out of the dating app world and into the dating real life world. So, um, that's it. That's the end of this chapter of the, you know, LPDS remote work drive into Jersey segment. This chapter of the book, the Libretti Podcast Diary book. Um, you've seen already. I put on Instagram and Facebook the prompts for questions and topic ideas for the road. So I'll get those questions and topics and we'll talk about them on when I record for the road trip coming up. And that should be a good time. So thank you to whoever submits to that. Obviously, I'm recording before I get those answers and prompts, but you're hearing this now after that has already passed. So you already submitted your questions or your comments, your topic ideas. So I appreciate you guys doing that. Like I said, I love doing this shit. So if I'm stuck on the road doing something I don't enjoy, being by myself on the road, this gives me an excuse to do something I enjoy doing. And you guys help with that. You're the reason. If you guys don't submit questions or topics or ideas, it's not as fun for me to try to come up with stuff to talk about while on the road. I do it here, no problem, in studio, in the dungeon studio or at the LPDS compound studio. Got it. That's on me. That's what I want it to be. But on the road, it's different. My brain is in a different space, so you guys really help out by providing some questions, even the ones that people, that are stupid jokes or bad jokes or whatever, or repeat questions or whatever. You're providing something for me to talk about and to get my mind off of being alone for two 13-hour days in the car. So thank you for that. I really do appreciate that. Um, so stand by for those episodes. Maybe I'll record more than one time. I always say that, but then life happens on the road and sometimes I don't get to it. So I'd like to do two recordings, but we'll see. Anyway, that's all I got today, folks. Before we go, very quickly, the big three, the three pillars to staying strong and being a better, happier, kinder, healthier, less stressed, more genuine human being and spreading that positivity and goodness to all those around you. Number one, exercise every day. Do something to work yourself out, get that fitness in physically, mentally, or emotionally. Got, we got the dogs running around upstairs. I don't know if you can hear it through the mic here, but it's loud up there. Number two, the hardest one to do, don't be a shitty person, be a kind person. Don't be a negative person either. When the opportunity arises to be shitty or negative or cause division and chaos, take the LPDS step back, detach from your emotions, and omit yourself from those situations. You're not doing any good for anybody ever doing that stuff, especially on the internets, because all it's doing is creating more negativity and shit in the world. And it's creating it more in your life too. Now your brain is being consumed again. It's taking up space in your brain. The negativity is taking up space in your brain and your mind, and it's creating those pathways, those neural pathways, and all those sciencey term pathways in your brain to flock to that, to keep flocking to the negative. And you don't want to live in the negative. It's not healthy for you. Go look at the people that are constantly posting negative shitty bullshit on social media every single day, go look at those people. I guarantee you the vast majority of them have something else going on. They're depressed, they have high anxiety, they're stressed, they're on medications because their lives are, are in a bad spot right now. Almost all of them. I feel terrible for them. It's because it's so tough to get out. That's why number two is the hardest one to do, because it's so easy to get sucked into that world and it's so hard to omit yourself from it. But if you try to do it every day, it's going to be beneficial for you. And you can do that by doing number three, the most important one. Be genuinely thankful and grateful for all the good you have in your lives. When you take the time to actively think about the good things in your lives and how shitty your life would be like without those things, and you get into that state of gratitude, that active state of gratitude, that allows your brain to focus on positive things and it won't have time for the negative stuff. So the more you do that, dogs barking upstairs, these animals, the more you do that, the better off you're going to be. Okay? And if you put all those three together, each and every day you focus on that a little bit more each and every day, I promise you guys, you're going to be better, happier, kinder, healthier, less stressed, more genuine human beings to be able to spread that positivity and goodness throughout the land. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit your notifications, and tell your friends and enemies, and hit that hotline 202-670-1114. Love the hotline. Haven't got a hotline in a long time. You're not going to get any hotline calls coming up for the road trip episodes, but call the hotline anyway. We'll get the calls on the air. We'll have a good time doing it. 202-670-1114. Thank you guys again. I love you all. Stay strong.